Good luck, Mulder.
Hey guys, welcome to the first episode to Dust to Determination's new podcast.
Woo!
Today I'm here with
87.
Driver Babes.
There you go.
That's a better thing. He is a part of the TimeStoppingMotorsports. Is that what I said? TimeStoppingMotorsports Team.
Yeah.
Is that it?
It's your brother's race car team.
Yeah,
I hope you know the name.
How did you come up with that name? Because
The Time Stopping Motorsports.
Yeah, how did you come up with
All right, so this is a throwback. So like NHL on the Xbox in like 2011. My buddy Dan Heisey and we made a team together, and you could do like random like name makers, and Time Stopping was the name of our hockey team. And then that just evolved into Time Stopping Motorsports. But it makes sense if you think about it, because we're driving so fast, we make it feel like time is stopping. That's how I incorporated into it, but really it came up from a NHL 09 or 10, 12, whatever it was, team that I made with my buddy Danny.
And our dad
Yes.
did not want this.
No, and he still doesn't want that name. He wants Stein Family Racing or Stein Motorsports, and that's just like the generic thing that everybody does. There's nothing wrong with it, but if you look at my car, there's nothing about my car that is a traditional like 4-cylinder. You know what I mean? From just the outside looking at it. You know what I mean? You do see 4-cylinder podcasts and stuff like that, but just stuff around here. If we do what everybody else does, you know what I mean, you'll never stand out. You know what I mean? I just want to make sure that while we're at the track, and myself, my family, my friends are having a good time, and we're doing that with these outlandish things.
So you've been racing for a while. I remember I was in like freshman year of high school. You started doing this stuff, and you think I'm actually gonna buy a race car and I'm gonna do this. Like, what gave you that push to actually do it?
Well, I think growing up, you know, you see the guys on the TV, and you'd be like, hey, I want to be like that guy. You know what I mean? I want to do the interviews. I want to get behind the car and stuff like that. And I think to really explain that, you kind of have to explain the first race car that I bought. It was a 1998 Nissan Altima that I bought for $180. And I put about $300 of Lowe's piping roll cage and a shelf was the front bumper into it. And we raced that car about 8 times. It was indoor racing where pretty much you got it, you throw a cheap roll cage in there, and you just go race 100 laps. And that was good to like see if I enjoyed it before like I started diving some more money into it. And here we are.
I remember you got a job at Lowe's specifically to get stuff for your race car.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that 10% discount, let me tell you.
Okay. What made you want to become a race car driver? Like, for you getting your first car, like, how did it build up to that? Like, what?
Well, like I said, growing up, seeing the guys on the TV, you know what I mean? And my dad was always really into racing, and I was always not necessarily a gearhead growing up. Like, I had quads and go-karts and stuff like that, but I was never like, I never dove into that growing up. It was more of like, how did things work? I mean, it was big with the Legos, the Connects, the whatever, the Lincoln Logs, or, you know what I mean? I'd take my go-kart apart just to figure out how it worked. You know what I mean? It wasn't so much of like, I gotta make loud noises and go really fast growing up. It was, how does this work? How can I make it better? And then a lot of the times when I take it apart, how do I break it? And then once I break it, how do I unbreak it? So I think that growing up, and then obviously with my father taking me to the races every year, whether it be the local dirt track of Grandview or down to Dover up to Pocono. When I was like in 8th grade, he flew me out to Las Vegas to go see the race out there. And there's a couple other tracks around here that are closed now that we went to. But I think it's just kind of all those things collected like together that got me to this point.
Okay, and how many cars have you had in the history of you starting racing?
This is the Honda Carlo is 4.
4?
Yeah, so I had the Nissan Altima, and then I had an automatic Cavi, and a lot of the parts out of that automatic Cavi are now in the 97 Cavalier, obviously Mark Stein's car, my dad, and then the Honda Prelude, aka the Honda Carlo.
Okay, I need to know, how did we decide the name Honda Carlo? Where'd that come from?
Because it's got a Monte Carlo front end, Honda Carlo, Monte Carlo, yes.
Okay, what was your, besides the first, like the newer Honda Carlo, what would you say was your favorite one? Add the other 3. Which one was your favorite?
Well, the Cavalier I started on dirt. The Ultima was asphalt. I raced that car twice. The first race, I put it in the wall and ripped the nose off of it. Because I didn't know that you needed to put proper lug nuts on the car. I thought anything that threaded on was good. And the wheel came off the car. And I hit the wall, ripped the nose off of it, and then I fixed that over the year. Then I raced it once before I deployed, and then when I got back, we built the current 97. But the Ultima, I raced that thing at least 8 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had that thing hitting the rev limit the whole way around the track. The gearing was completely off, but that thing did not die. So I like the auto cavi because it got me into dirt racing, but I think my favorite before the Hadi Carlo was the Ultima because I just got to use it more.
What was the most difficult part about building those 3 cars and like working your way up to what you have now?
Lack of knowledge, just having no idea what I'm doing, just not a clue. Like when I was building the automatic cavi, the one rule of the Bedford where I ran that Central PA is you had to have a fuel cell, but I didn't know how any fuel system works. I was like, all right, I gotta buy an inline fuel pump. I don't need to regulate it, and I had like 100 psi going to the fuel rail, and the psi was way too high that it blew all the injectors out and it filled the cylinders up with fuel. And I was like, all right, I got this big fancy fuel system, this big fancy fuel cell. I was like, let me start it. And the engine wouldn't turn over because there was fuel in the cylinder. And I thought the starter was bad. So I'm cranking, going through batteries, jumping in with my truck, cranking. Burnt the starter out, go to AutoZone, bought a new one, put that on, didn't work. I'm like, I bought a bad starter. So I took it back, put another one on, cranking. And my father came out, and he's like, something's got to be wrong. Either your motor's locked up, something. He's like, did you hydro lock it? And I'm like, hydro what? Which means when you fill the cylinder up with fluid. So he pulls the spark plug, and he's looking down into the engine, and I turn the engine over, and it shoots him right into the face. There's fuel all over the place and stuff like that. So it's just not knowing. And to this day, I still don't know. I know a lot more than I did, but I still mess things up.
Okay. And then now that we've talked all the cars and got all that stuff out of the way, walk me through a typical race day routine.
I wake up in the morning. I piss excellent. Usually, we load up the truck. Now that we have the enclosed trailer, that's a huge help. But we load up all the tools, load up my car. My dad's car's on the flat deck trailer. Sometimes me and my dad will go get breakfast, but because the car is up at the 87 is up at Heinz Automotive, I obviously have to go to Jersey, pick up the car, so that hasn't really happened. But basically, load up the truck, load up the cars, do a Wawa stop, fill up on fuel, grab some snacky snacks, and then head to the racetrack.
All right. And what is one main thing that you cannot live without? Like, it must be packed. Obviously, there's the car and all that stuff, but like one
torque wrench. Ever since I had that wheel come off in my first dirt race, I never want that to happen again. So that's the one thing I have to mix in there. If it's not that, it's a multimeter.
Okay. And then how do you mentally prepare yourself before a race? Like, driving to the track, do you like pump some music, like go-to song or anything, like go-to snack, like you have to have this, like how do you get yourself ready?
Well, something I have to do is everybody that's there, I have to fist pump through the window net. Like you have the window net here, and there's like a little hole, fist pump, that has to happen. I'm sitting in the staging lanes, you know what I mean? I just kind of breathe a little bit, you know what I mean? Most of the times I'm really not that nervous. If I do get nervous or do get in my head, it's usually in the staging lane. Once I'm rolling around the track, all thoughts are completely out. It's me listening to the car, feeling it, seeing how the track is. Yeah, there's not really much. Just big things, fist pound, and if I get nervous, just breathe a little bit, and then that pretty much goes away.
Okay, what is the most challenging aspect of being a race car driver?
So the hardest thing about being a race car driver off the track is time management. I know I'm a little overboard when it comes to my car, but after every race, I got to put it up, check suspension, make sure brake calipers are tight, check in, making sure the hub nuts are tight. Like, I go over my car completely, make sure everything's tight after the race. And then if anything breaks, like this overheating issue, which we'll touch on, but if anything breaks, then that's time I got to take out of my afternoon schedule or something I have to do on the weekend or stay up late to fix. So the hardest thing off the track is time management. The hardest thing on the track for me is learning how other drivers race. I'm much better with that now than I was, and patience. I don't really have that. I think I'm better with that. I think patience and knowing how others race are the two hardest things.
Going to a couple of your races, I realized you've forgotten the net a couple of times.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that like the last thing that just like slips your mind?
Usually we forget that when we're rushing. Like, I forgot that at the first Bridgeport race because they didn't give us any warning. They were like 4 cylinders, get in your car and go. So I was putting everything on, Breeze turning on the GoPros and everything, and I was just rushing and went and going. And then this past weekend for New Egypt for hot laps, there was 100 cars that had to get teched. So we were rushing to get onto the track for hot laps, and we forget. So usually the window net is if we're just rushing, because there's so many things you got to do. But yeah, I suck at that.
So this upcoming race that we went to, that was New Egypt, right?
Yes, that was New Egypt.
Okay. I was watching and you almost won. and you've never won before. You've won a heat, but you've never won a feature. How do you handle the pressure of staying focused when you were that close to winning? Like, you were behind that car's butt, like, and there was cars behind you. How do you stay focused when there was so much pressure on you during that moment?
So when you're racing, there isn't really time to not be focused. You know what I mean? You're just there. I was on Kyle, the 23. I don't know if I would have gotten around him. He was pretty quick. He would have hit a rut or something like that for me to even have a chance getting around him. But it's the closest I've ever been to Egypt, that's for sure. Like lap 2, when they had that bad wreck in 1 and 2, when we were sitting there for like 5 minutes waiting for them to pull the cars off the track, my left leg was shaking because I think I was in like 2nd or 3rd, and I've never been that high up into Egypt, so I was like vibrating. I was like, calm down, calm down. Like, you're gonna mess this up. You're gonna mess this up. So I think losing focus is like during cautions or during the red flags like that. When you're actually racing, you don't have a choice.
And then going off of that, what goes through your mind when you're behind a wheel during the race?
Oh, don't hit anything. It's gonna be expensive. Don't hit anything. Nothing break on the car. Like I was watching GoPro footage. We'll go into that in a little bit, but yeah, don't hit anything. Don't break anything.
Things are you listening for when you're driving? Like, is it hard to hear when so many cars and fans and everything going off around you? Like, is it hard to just like dial in on your car, making sure it sounds like correct?
You tone all that out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like when I was having the overheating and the RPM issues at the end of the race, I immediately knew. But it's quiet. Like you're totally thinking. Like it's just a conversation with yourself.
Do you think like different mentally, like, oh, like this track's a little like rocky or like wet or too wet?
Not so much. I think confidence-wise, between Bridgeport and New Egypt, since those are 2 ones that we run mainly, like I'm more confident at Bridgeport because I've obviously performed a lot better there in the past versus New Egypt where I've really struggled. So like going to New Egypt, I'm already having the mindset of like, yep, I'm gonna suck today. So then when last Saturday happened that I was up in the front, my mind was blown. You know what I mean? Versus at Bridgeport, if I have a really poor day, like that's something that bothers me.
And let's move on to the story of what happened at this week's race. I got to go to this one. Luckily, I came home from college. So tell everyone else what happened that race.
So the heat, as I'll start with the heats. Started 6th in the heat, but for some reason the lineup was messed up, so I ended up starting 4th. I think I was behind. Ed 4 was in front of me. Joe Gary Sr. was to my left. Kyle was P1. Kyle took off. He's real quick. And then Ed and Senior and I raced for like 3 to 4 laps. And I was able to come home 2nd, which is the best I've ever finished there in a heat. And then the top 4 from each redraw for the feature, and I redrew 6, so I started 6th in the feature. Worked my way up to 3rd, I think, rather quickly. And then me and Senior in the 26 raced side by side for a while, like a while. And then I got around him, and then I was catching Kyle, but following Kyle. Like he'd gain a little bit 1 lap, and then he'd hit a rut, and then I'd gain a little bit another lap. And then we had 5 to go, and I could tell we single file for a while. I could tell by my engine temp that my engine was hot, and I've never had a engine pull ignition because I've never got it that hot. So Honda ECUs will pull ignition if they hit a certain engine coolant temp. They'll pull ignition. I've never hit that before. I've also never turned as many RPMs in my life. More RPMs generally, the hotter the engine gets. Restart, and I've missed shifts before. That's totally me just panicking. Restart, 5 laps to go, single file. And Kyle goes, I start from 2nd. He pulls a little bit on me as we go. And I hit rev limit, and I go to put it in the 2nd. I go from 2nd to put it in the 3rd. And the tack bounces. It hits the chip. Like it wasn't in the gate. So I pull it back out of the gate, put it in the 2nd, stomp on it again, get the RPMs up, put it back in the 3rd. It takes, and then it goes for like, I don't know, maybe a lap and a half. And then once it did that, after about, I lost the position. I was in 3rd, drove around a lap and a half, got back in the 2nd. And as soon as I got back in the 2nd, in my mind, I was like, I just gave this race away. So any shot that I had, Kyle's half a track ahead at this point. I said, but I just gave this race away. And then it went rev over 4K because it hit that engine temp. So I tried for like half a lap to get it to go over 4K. Wouldn't go over 4K, so I pulled it in. And that was the end of our night. Why it overheated, I don't really know yet. The motor still appears to be okay. Gonna get a bigger radiator, bigger fans. The thermostat water pump are on the newer side, so I don't really think it was that. The rad's really small, turning a bunch of RPMs. Another thing we'll do is put a shroud underneath of it. So there's some fixes we're going to make to hopefully get the cooling better, but the engine appears to be okay, which is good.
Then now take me to the week prior to what racetrack were you on?
Bridgeport.
Bridgeport, take me there because I didn't get to go to that one, so tell me all
Yeah,
about
so Bridgeport, hot laps, I was the quickest in hot laps. I had an open track, that's the only reason I was quickest. Played the gearing figured out there as well. A heat race, started on the pole, dad on the outside, 97, that was really cool. Launched really good, shifted into third really good. I was able to beat dad to turn one, so I just literally drove it into the corner and it stayed on the high side. I had the 7R Degler on me. He was definitely quicker than I was, but with the momentum that you carry on that top side, it's really tough to pass on the bottom. Especially, it was raining all day, so the track was really slick. I saw his peak his nose on the inside a couple times. It's fun racing with him. He kept it clean, which is always appreciated. So I was able to win that heat. And then I pulled 5th for the feature, which is like the worst spot that you can pull because you're the top 3 redraw. So the 6 there, the top 6 redraw. And you want to be on the outside. If you're not on the outside, you want to be 1 or 4. If I was 5, so I'm the 3rd one on the inside. So the worst redraw possible. Not a big deal. Just got to work with it. They rescheduled that for the 20th. But yeah, car ran really well there. Gearing's a lot better. Got to work on suspension a little bit there. She was a little loosey-goosey. But other than that, we'll be all right.
So now going to your car, I see you've really upgraded your car from the very beginning. There is lots more sponsors now and everything. So what was the transition into what it looks like now?
So the engine and transmission that are in the car are the same that it's been the entire time. Since I started racing 2.5 years ago in New Egypt, motor's the exact same. It's got an intake, long tube header. Transmission's the same. The only thing I did in transmission is out of a 4-gen Prelude, I swapped the final drive to get the gearing a little bit better. But other than that, that's completely the same. Everything else has been more handling and bodywork related. Like I put a smaller fuel cell into it, so I can help with weight distribution. I can put weight where I want it. Cut a bunch of weight out of the car. I mean, skin the things that didn't need to be there. And then we did a lot of Drift Unleashed. My girlfriend Bree did most of the body work. That's why it looks as good as it does. I know no other 4-cylinder in Jersey looks like mine. Kind of want it that way. 4-cylinders get a lot of flack, you know what I mean? Because we have half the cylinders, half the coolness, all that stuff. So I wanted to do my best to make my car look good. So I want a good-looking car to house the new sponsors that we have.
And then talk about those new sponsors that you have.
So last season, Heinz Automotive jumped on board. They're on the hood. They've been a vital part to this. Heinz Automotive is out of Robbinsville, New Jersey. They specialize in repairing classics. They will do the modern stuff. You know, I mean, they're kind of your one-stop shop. They also do towing. So if you have to move a classic car, or even if your normal car breaks down, they'll come get you. And let me tell you, Ron Hines, when he tows a car, he is very, very gentle. He takes care of your car. They're very big on keeping the American classics, well, classics in general alive, but mainly the American classics alive. They sponsor local car shows in the local classic car community. They're very well known in the Central Jersey area. They've been a huge help with the off season. I've been able to build the Honda Carlo in his shop, which has been phenomenal because I'm not on the dirt, I'm not in my back, I'm not in the cold. I have access to a lift now. Any tool that I don't have, he has. And then T did a bunch of the body work. Bree's mom, she also works at the at Heinz Automotive. There was a big dent on the right rear. Yeah, she bonded that all out. Spent a couple hours making that look good. So big shout out to her as well. And then we have CLG on board as well. Jim was in a service just like I am and was. CLG is a mortgage lending group. And they also, at least Jim specializes in VA home loans, working with VA to get home loans and processes stuff like that. So he's jumped on board this year. Got with him on the car, and everybody else got them a heat win, so that was cool. Some screen time for them and a bunch of screen time up at New Egypt. Drift Unleashed is my girlfriend's company. Obviously, she painted the car. She does a lot of vinyl work. She'll do like mugs and stuff like that. And then she also will go to a junkyard and pull like a brake rotor or a strut or something like that and make a piece of furniture out of it. Like I know right now she's working on these lamps that are made out of a coilover off the Prelude or the Honda Carlo, an old one. And then she has some rims that she's going to make these little tables and stuff with. So she does stuff like that. And then Amanda's Content Creations. She does all of our race day or race related content. So like a race day post. She just did like a highlight video that'll be posted tomorrow, April 9th, 2024. Does like sponsorship, like photo shoots and all that stuff. So she does a lot of content creation, race day photos, highlight videos and stuff like that for a lot of the New Jersey people. So appreciate all of them being on board. The car last year, the car now is not comparable. But yeah, no, it's. I used to have a blank car that was black and red. Now I get to represent great people. So it's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Okay. let's move on to your little racing team. So it's obviously consists of you and Dad.
No. There's more people involved.
I know. Obviously, you would just think that it's you and Dad, the two racing. Let's start off with Dad. How do you like racing with your father?
Overall, it's been a lot of fun. We built his car first, and then we built mine. So building that car was a ton of fun. That was a ground up build. We had just a bare chassis, and then took some of the parts from the old automatic one, got a bunch of new parts in there. So that was a ton of fun. And then just kind of like that first race that we did together. The cars don't look anything like they did the first time we raced in New Egypt. But just like having that going there together, having the same number, font, stuff like that was really cool. I know there's a bunch of banter on social media about who's going to beat who and all that stuff. So a lot of the family gets involved, which is good there as well. The team is spread out a little bit. I mean, you got the 97 in Pennsylvania, you got the 87 in Jersey. But the household was getting overwhelmed with car parts and everything like that. So the move was needed, especially as the team grows, the more parts and stuff you acquire. So much needed. But yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. And how was the experience of going from our house garage to now a real shop?
Oh, that's game changing. Absolutely game changing. It's about 45 minutes away, so like the drive stinks versus just walking out the door and having the car right there. But no, there's not a monetary value that you could put on how helpful that is. It's absolutely game changing. And Ron, with his expertise, able to help if I'm struggling with something on a car. We had a Dad and Matt will come up and help us with some stuff, and yeah, unmatched.
Dad, obviously we love Dad. He's an amazing racer. But let's also talk about your other teammates that also make TimeStoppingMotorsports what it is. So tell me about some other people that are in this group.
We have Matt, the crew chief. He mainly helps my father out, but when we first started racing, he was helping both of us out. He's kind of if anybody wants to mess with us, they're not messing with us, they're messing with Matt. No, he's been a huge help. I think he has come to 95% of the races. Always enthusiastic, always helpful. Anything you ask him to do, he'll yell at you for yelling at him, but he'll get it done right away. I think I've taught him some things about vehicles as well through this, which I hope he enjoys. Like, so if I have the hood open, I'll explain something. So I hope that has been a mutual thing there. Matt's help. Everybody in the pits loves him. Ed Ford tells me all the time how great Matt is and stuff like that. And we wouldn't be able to do what we do without Matt. Another teammate is my girlfriend, Bree. I honestly think she's the reason why I run as well as I do. If you look at my first year and a half of running, I hit everything. Then I started dating Bree, and now magically I'm winning heat races, and I haven't been in a bad wreck. Knock on all the wood, and you know what I mean. In just under 2 years now, I had some dings and dents here, which happened, but not ripping the nose off of cars like I used to. So I give a lot of credit of why I am so successful and why the car looks the way that it does, because of her. Another little teammate, future racer we have is Rowan. Whenever the cars are outside, he always loses his mind, wants to go sit in them. I know Dad, Mark Stein, will take him for a ride around the house every once in a while, which I know he loves. And then we have our photographer over the weekend, Devon. Yes, who was freezing her butt off in the trailer. Yeah, but so appreciate all the photos you took this weekend, and obviously hosting this. We're not sure how well this is gonna go. This was more designed because Devon's going to college. So we have a cat falling over in the back. This was more designed for one, to promote our sponsors, to promote the race team. You know what I mean? But this was also designed for something for Devon and I to do. Okay. Devon, what's your major?
My major is media, culture communications. So everything that has to do with social media, pretty much. This came from a project that I had to do for one of my classes. I had to create a podcast, and I was like, I don't really feel like doing much talking. I know the perfect person
that likes to talk.
Talk.
Yes.
If I just give him a question or have him tell a story, he'll just go off and do it. So that's what this idea came from, and he just took it and absolutely
ran. I ran with it.
Literally, we're like, we're doing this. Started sending me the logo, everything. I was like, okay, I guess this is happening. So we worked together and came up with this.
Worst comes to worst, it's something her that I can do together, have some fun. Another thing we want to do, I don't know, if any other racers, sponsors, teams, friends, anybody else wants to come on, we'd love to have you on, ask you some questions. You can promote your stuff. I'm not expecting this to get very big, but any viewership is, valued. So if any fellow racers, teammates, crew members, iRacers, sponsors, anybody wants to come on here and chat with us, we would love to have you.
Get Bree on here. We have to get Bree on here.
Yeah, it's a good one. She's gonna hate that.
See, Bree is has like a second bodyguard. Like there's Matt, and then there's Bree,
Yeah.
and then there's Daniel. Like
Yes.
that's how I see it.
Yeah. No, but I didn't even think of that. Bree's coming on here.
Yeah,
Huh,
Bree's
Bree?
gonna come on here.
They have some fellow drivers.
Yes.
It's funny when we were planning this. A couple of them posted like a meme video of like them starting a podcast, and I was like, no, they're gonna steal my idea before I get it out. But the meme was like them all getting arrested after the podcast and everything like that. It was funny. Obviously, nothing like that's gonna happen on here. But if anybody wants to come on, promote their stuff, talk about how they started racing and stuff like that, they are more than welcome to.
Some racing things. So let's describe a memorable race moment that really stands out to you.
I believe it was the second to last race that I raced last year at Bridgeport. I was hoping to get my first win at Bridgeport as a doubleheader. We were racing like a Friday and Saturday night. This was the Friday night. Big field, like 15, 16, maybe up to 18 cars, which is a lot for Bridgeport. And my main goal was to just finish in the top 3 in the heat so that I could make the redraw for the feature. And you hear my dog? Is that what he left? Yeah. So Gator, the crackhead, I'm sure he'll be running around here one of these days. So I started 6th in the heat. In the heat, I worked my way up to 3rd, and then there was a caution, and I was all pissed about the caution. But I was like, all right, if I get a good restart here, I can still finish 3rd. I'll make the redraws. We'll be okay. Well, there was like 2 laps to go. Coming to the green, I miss a shift. I fall to last place. All mad. There's a couple cars that wrecked out, but in the feature, I was starting 14th, which was last. And I told Bree, I was like, there's no way I'm going to win this race. I said, I'm probably going to maybe get up to 8th or something like that. Because once the cars get in the line at Bridgeport, it's really difficult to pass. I said, I'm just going to go out there, get some seat time, and hopefully my car will be in one piece. Because when you're in the back, more stuff can happen in front of you. The crackhead's here. My one worry is that like I just said, with more cars in front of it, you could get involved in something. So I started 14th, and I finished 2nd. How I did that, I have no idea. I think I was more excited about that than my first heat win because like that was just like not what I had in mind for the night to go or anything like that. So I guess my favorite night or the best racing moment would be that feature race.
So what advice would you give to aspiring race car drivers?
Aspiring race car drivers, make friends. There's not a lot of friends in the racing community. Everybody cares about each other, like if there's an injury and stuff like that. Everybody drops everything to go help somebody out, but racing's a cutthroat sport, I have learned. So find a mentor, find somebody you can talk to, and listen. Just sit there and listen and listen and listen and listen. Don't go in there head first thinking you know everything, because I promise you the local guys know 100 times more than you will. Just go there, just listen, and take their advice because it'll save you a lot of time and money, and you'll get faster, quicker.
How do you balance family life, work life, and racing life all at once?
I don't. Do not. The past 2 months, it just doesn't happen. So I was supposed to have the whole off season to rebuild the car. I had big plans that we didn't get to all of it. I had to go away for a month for military. That was not planned into the schedule. So I had the car completely ripped apart. Bree and I spent like 3 weeks just breaking the thing down. And I got a phone call that you're leaving in 2 weeks for a month. So that totally threw a wrench in our plan. So I left for a month, came back, and it was just every night till like 12 o'clock at night to get the car done. So the past couple months, the family hasn't really been a thing. Work obviously takes priority, and then it's race cars. I try to do family things as I can. Now that the car's built, hopefully it'll stay in one piece. We can do more of the family things. Give Bree a break too. I know she's really tired. She's been amazing getting the car the way that it is, and I can't be more grateful for that. But yeah, the short answer to that question is it didn't.
How do you handle the setbacks and the disappointments during a race?
We got zoomies.
I hear them.
Oh, we got all the zoomies. You hear them? We got the zoomies. Whoa! Great, you're supposed to be keeping everybody quiet. And she's like, no.
How do you handle, like, so going off of that, how do you handle setbacks or disappointment, like, during racing season?
So like this overheating, you know what I mean? I was going to get 2nd place for the first time in New Egypt. And I overheated, you know what I mean? Like, I would have been really pissed if I was leading and then it overheated. Yeah. But the way that it looked, so like this weekend's a great example. I was really upset about it. Wanted to get 2nd place in New Egypt. That would have been phenomenal for me, and hopefully it'll happen this year. I was pissed off for about 30 seconds, but you can sit there and you can be mad as you want. That's not going to fix anything. You're not going to learn anything. I'm sure I can chuck a wrench and be mad, but you're not going to get over that hurdle if you just sit there and cry about the hurdle. It's a lot quicker, and you get over it mentally if you just fix the problem. I mean, you can sit there, feel bad about yourself for a little bit, but grab your butt and go get it fixed.
And what are your long-term goals? It could be racing or in general, doesn't matter.
We'll keep this racing because I won't shut up in general. I'd like to run 4 cylinders for the foreseeable future. It's what I know. You know what I mean? Like going to a street stock, I don't know anything about those motors. Or even rear wheel drive. Don't know anything. So I'd like to points championships. My dog just gave me a toy. Points championships aren't really an option with me. Being in the service, I miss a couple races a year due to drill. So points championships, if you miss a race, you're pretty much out of the. You have to be very good to overcome that. Goals are to make sure that I have a good time, make sure that my friends and family have a good time, to make sure that we're all safe, and to represent the people who support me, represent them properly. It's a very expensive world out there, so any support that somebody gives to me, I want to make sure that I reciprocate that and give back to them and promote them as they deserve to be promoted.
That's awesome. I also have heard that you got a new trailer.
Yes, we did acquire. And it needs some love. She's a little rough around the edges, but that's just another project to topple onto the 1,000 projects that we have. But TSMS has their first enclosed trailer. It's got a big old scrape down the side, a big old dent on the front. But
don't work.
It needs love. But it's an enclosed trailer, and that's been great the past 2 races we've had because it's been cold or rainy, and we've been able to sit in there. So we'll get that all custom with some pit lights and some decals on the side, put a workbench and tools and everything in there. Bree's doing a great job at keeping everything quiet. And I roll. I know. And the beeping.
What's your favorite racing movie then? We'll do that. Favorite racing
Talladega Nights. Days of Thunders is the second close, but Talladega Nights. I made a reference in this. Talladega Nights 100%. I want to talk about Bree's pit car.
Oh,
you gotta go. Yes. You gotta go follow Drift Unleashed on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You will see this little pit car that we're building for her, so that she doesn't have to. And everybody else, it's a 2-seater. We're gonna make like somewhere you can stand on the back, so that she can drive around like 4 people. It's like a 1980s, 90s, maybe early 2000s go kart. It's like one of those 2-seaters that you put like your infant in next to you. Not infant, but you put like 5-year-old in next to you, and then you drive them around like the parent and kid car. We're basically putting a go-kart chassis underneath of it with a big old motor. And she's designing it to look like a miniature version of her car. So she's going to have her Honda Civic parked and then this pit car behind her. But that has been a total custom build. The only things on there that are supposed to be on there that came original from the manufacturer are the body and the frame. Everything else, and the steering rack. Everything else, not supposed to be there. So that when that's done, that's gonna have a light bar. It's gonna have brake light. It's gonna have forward and reverse and park, and that's gonna be the coolest pit car in the Jersey pits, hands down.
How like the differences between Bridgeport and New Egypt.
One I suck at one, and I kind of suck at the other one. One's high bang 3/8 oval. The other one's pretty flat in the 7/16. I think there's some differences in the clay, but I'm not smart enough to know what the differences are between it. One is more of like a family center. Like I think New Egypt like does more like family oriented things versus Bridgeport is like business, like professional and racing and stuff like that. I enjoy them both. It's you get different cultures at different tracks or whatever. I liked Bridgeport more in the past because I just ran better there, so I'm a little biased to it. But after this New Egypt run, I'm like, ah! But there was a lot of torn up cars this weekend in New Egypt that you tend to not get at Bridgeport. So I like them both. They both have their pros and their cons. Bridgeport's closer to home, but it's kind of the 2 differences that I know.
Is there any like dream racetracks that you want to race at? Like,
well, I wanted to do Bristol Dirt, but they don't do that no more, so that's not gonna happen. I know they do. Eldora, I think, does a 4-cylinder class 1 time a year. I'd like to do that. Other than that, just just kind of get my name out there at the local tracks. I'm very content with that.
And where are you planning to take TimeStoppingMotorsports? Like, are you planning on going and doing anything else with this team, like a YouTube or like? Obviously, there's.
DIRTermination will be on YouTube and Twitch. We have a TikTok. I'm not as active as I used to be on there because I just had no time to make those videos like I used to.
You were TikTok famous.
Yeah, a little bit for a little while, not as much as I was.
TikTok famous. You were getting noticed at the tracks. People coming up.
Oh, that was great. I'll never forget that. So the first year of racing in Jersey, I was getting wrecks with everybody. So this heat, I didn't wreck anybody, but I'm sitting there getting ready for the feature, and this younger guy, I was probably 24 24, 23, and he was like 17, 18. He's walking over me. He's staring at me. Like, no emotion on his face, giving me the daggers. And I'm like, whose dad did I piss off now? Like, that's just like where my head went. And he came over and he's like, I never thought I'd see this car. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I never thought I'd see this car in real life. And I just like froze. He's like, yeah, I follow you on TikTok. I'm a huge fan. I'm like, no way! Lost my mind. Like, lost my mind. I made him take a picture of me and everything. I lost my mind. He didn't ask for a picture of me. I made him take a picture. And then like sometimes I'll comment on the forums. I'm no 4-cylinder expert or no mechanical expert, but if I can help somebody out so that they don't hydrolock an engine like I did, so sometimes I've commented on the 4-cylinder forums and they'll private message me and be like, "Oh, your car, your name looked familiar from TikTok," and I'm like, "Yep, that's me." So yeah, we have a TikTok, we have an Instagram, we have Facebook, Twitch now, YouTube, which will just be these videos, and like feature races will be on there. Linktree, that is all on there.
Oh,
Linktree,
yeah,
it's all on there. Yes. Yes. We have a Linktree. Time-Stopping Motorsports. Go Linktree, Time-Stopping Motorsports. You'll find it, and that has the links to all of our platforms.
So you really like started off on TikTok, like.
And I didn't intend TikTok to turn into what it turned into. Like, I was making those videos and posting them to TikTok so I could look back and see the car like progress, and it just, for a small town race team, exploded. Absolutely. Like, I remember I woke up one night, my phone was vibrating off the table, just exploded. I think this was a successful.
I think this was pretty good.
Yes. I think this could go somewhere. You know, we get some other drivers, some other people on here. Bring Matt on. Bring Bree on. Yes. Bring all those people on. We'll have special introductions.
So funny. Like, Bree makes me laugh. Bree is so funny.
She is funny.
She's so funny.
She's also mean. She's mean.
No, but like that's funny. She's so funny. I was laughing. She was making me laugh this weekend.
Did you hear a question for you?
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you think don't be the nice brother or the nice sister to the brother here?
Oh God.
No, I want genuine answer. Okay? Genuine.
Okay.
Do you think I get my first win this year?
Yes. You say that you had a pretty big distance, but no, you literally were kissing his butt. Like, I have.
Yeah, I mean for like one lap on the restart.
Right, but like just imagine, and you had like 5 laps left. Like, just imagine. I don't know anything about cars and racing. I've just grown up into this, but I genuinely feel like if your car did not get about and you wanted it that bad, you could have got in front of him. 100%.
Well, that's nice. Would have been harder than you think. And there's a lot of quick guys there that had issues. Like Dom, that Mustang is usually really quick. The 20, that Cobalt's really quick. Degler is always really fast, and Robbie, and just some other quick cars there that are slipping my mind right now. And I know he's had some engine problems. He's usually really quick there. So there's a bunch of quick guys that got fallen out of it. Racing with Senior was awesome. Him and I were side by side for almost half the race. And we kept it clean. I don't think we touched each other once.
No, there wasn't really a lot of.
No. Like at Bridgeport, there's a lot of. Degler's at Bridgeport. Tim, Lee Allen's really quick there. Joe Gary Jr. I know he's building another car. He'll be really fast there. Bob Johnson, John Parker in the 50. He was really quick this last race. It was good seeing him quick. And there's a couple new names at Bridgeport that I don't really know their names. Couple new cars that I haven't met them yet. But no, the field's probably tighter than it's ever been. And I know there's some people that are building cars that they haven't came out yet. So the Honda Carlo is definitely there. I just need to keep the nose clean, and if you race enough and you're up at the front, hopefully it'll eventually happen.
Well, this race this weekend had a great turnout. There were so many cars there.
18, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of cars. So, and the fact that you stayed in front, not like in first, but stayed in front out of all of those cars, that just shows that like it is possible. And even Dad was staying up with you too, especially him coming off of an injury. He's been a little nervous to get back in there, but he's definitely staying up there. So good for him. Really nice to see both of you guys racing out there together and having fun. I do have a question.
Good.
If you and Bree in the same exact car, who's winning?
It depends on what surface. Asphalt, she wins. Dirt, I win.
Really?
100%. She is a wizard on asphalt. She makes me grab my seatbelt when I ride passenger in her car because she's so quick. Yeah, asphalt, she kicks my butt. Dirt track, I unfortunately think I have her.
Really?
I was like, asphalt, she beats me. Dirt, I got her. She thinks she beats me on both.
No. I've never driven dirt.
See, but it's not you'd beat me. It's I don't know how I would do. That's what it is.
Okay, right now, you.
There we go. See, right? Download this. Download it right now.
Clip it.
Yeah.
Clip it.
Yes, clip it. Yes, that's what the kids say these days.
Look at
Clip it.
you.
Yes, yes. Are you coming on?
Oh, you love Texas Roadhouse.
I do. She likes it too, but she only likes it because I like it.
Would you rather? Okay, if you could only eat one thing at Texas Roadhouse, what would it be?
Rolls.
Just the rolls.
Have you enjoyed doing this?
I think it's been pretty good.
Okay. So no, you haven't had fun.
No, I did have fun. I like I said, I don't really know much about racing, but like I love listening.
You're gonna learn.
Yeah, obviously, like.
You gotta learn.
Yeah, I know. I did grow up into this, but I've destroyed I destroyed 2 cars so far. So I honestly didn't get the good car traits from you guys, but
no, she wrecked Hondas.
I did.
She's wrecking the home team.
Thanks everybody for watching this episode 1, warming up of Dust to Determination. I got a memory.
You just had to read the name of the podcast.
You had to do it too. You messed it up.
I know. I kept saying Dirt to Determination. Like, it's not that. It's Dust. Dirt Termination is good.
DIRTermination. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed and you stick along on this journey with us. Like I said, we're not expecting this to go anywhere. It's kind of just a fun thing. But yeah, see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. Cat.
Yeah. Theo. Hi. You wanna come? Come on.
Oh, excited door. I was like, who's excited door? But I forgot.
That is Bree.
I forgot. Yo, everybody, welcome back.
What did I say?
Yo, everybody.
Was it yo?
Yes. Yo,
Oh.
everybody. That literally was it. Yo, I swear to God, it was yo.
Yo, what's up? I don't know.
Yo, everybody, what's up?
You think I know? I did like 40 of them damn things.
I know because I've watched so many of them.